Hey guys, welcome back to the SciOly Stats YouTube channel, where I analyze the statistics of various Science Olympiad teams and compare them to each other. So, today, I was a little unsure if I wanted to make a video about this, um, but last night I just started kind of messing around with some numbers, and I put together this predictive rankings for SOAPS, which is a decently competitive tournament coming up this weekend that I will be attending. SOAPS is tomorrow. So I figured that this would make a pretty good video. So here I am. Before I get started, though, I do want to mention something. Last video, I forgot to include this, but I did find another tournament that I didn't have on the document here. This is Jenkins Invitational. It was an Oklahoma Invitational. I think all of these schools are from Oklahoma, so I'm going to put them on here as such. And this invitational honestly doesn't change a whole lot. It's just now we have some data for these teams. Before, I don't think we had data for any of these teams. No, nope, no. So yeah, now we have some data on some Oklahoma teams, which is nice, I guess. Oklahoma, though, not a very competitive team nationally. They sent the Cassidy School last time, which got 47th. Pretty close to the bottom here. Not the most competitive state. Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise the Cassidy School. It looks like they were probably stacked here, but no surprise they got first and second. Even their B team can beat the other Oklahoma schools. So, yeah, I mean, other than telling us that the Cassidy School is probably the best school in Oklahoma right now, doesn't change. It doesn't change any of these predictions, and it certainly doesn't influence what we're doing today. So, with that out of the way, let's get to the real meat of the video, and that is sorry, there's a truck backing up outside, so it's beeping. Got distracted. So that is SOAP's rankings and predictions. I shouldn't say rankings. Results haven't come out yet. So predictions. So before I get into this, I should probably explain what this is. So these are all of the Division C teams that will be attending SOAPS this weekend. And you can see over here, I put their state. Most of these are from Pennsylvania. We have one from Virginia, one from Ohio, one from Florida, one from New York, one from South Carolina, and one from Indiana. The interesting thing is all of these out-of-state teams are actually pretty competitive, except Ithaca. But, I mean, Mason is the one team from Ohio, and Carmel is the one team from Indiana. And Clinton High School, this one I want to talk about a little bit. They are the state champions in South Carolina. Again, South Carolina, though, not really a competitive state. In fact, oh, wait, I think it's this. Yes. Yeah, so actually lower than Oklahoma. Clinton is, like I said, the team that went to nationals from South Carolina last year. Not very competitive. I forgot I put the nationals rank here. But yeah, not very competitive. So I'm not going to be including them in this. I expect them to do okay. They might place in some events, especially when compared to some of the Pennsylvania teams who didn't even really make it to the state tournament. So let's talk about that. So this is I have this as PA state placement. I'm going to take that out because the teams that are not from Pennsylvania I ranked in their own state. But any number in this category that does not have letters after it, the state abbreviation after it, is Pennsylvania. So any team that doesn't have a number in this category is a team that did not make it to the state competition. So Allentown Central, you can see did not. I could not find them on the state results from last year, as well as Ithaca for New York. I couldn't find them in the New York state results. Pocono Mountain West and Westchester East. These schools, they're not very competitive, obviously, if they don't make it to the state competition. I didn't really factor them into any of the rankings because I really just don't have data on them. And I mean, these schools, this could very well be the only invitational. SOAPS could very well be the only invitational that they attend this year. And then they go to regionals and then they don't make it to states, so their season's over. And I mean, that's okay. That's a valid way of participating in Science Olympiad. You're getting your students engaged with it, and getting them the experience, and you're just having fun with it. If you're not super competitive, that's fine. But that just means that I'm not really going to be factoring you into the rankings here. So yeah, we don't have data on those teams. We also don't really have any data on the other non-competitive teams. So like Clarion area, you can see, or Clarion area, I think that's how you pronounce that. You can see did make it to states. They didn't do super well. That's actually, I think, near the bottom of the Pennsylvania states rankings. Same with Pocono Mountain East. Shadyside Academy kind of falling roughly in the middle. Winchester almost making it into the top 10. State College area did make it into the top 10. North Pocono High School, decently competitive. The reason I did not factor these teams into this ranking over here is because that would simply just be too much time. Quite frankly, that's more work than I'm willing to put into this channel at this point. And honestly, I don't know. Do we even have any data? We might have data for North Pocono for this season. It would be... No, we don't actually. So honestly, I don't even know how many of these teams we have data for. You can see even like, so this is... okay, let's I'm getting ahead of myself. So with that out of the way, explaining why I only ranked these four teams, and I'll explain how I did this in a second. Let's talk about these four teams, and let's talk about this one first. Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology. That is quite the mouthful, so I just abbreviated it as TJHSST over here. They are the state champion in Virginia, and you can see they did okay. They fell in the top half. That's pretty decent. Virginia, not super competitive, but definitely not the worst state. It's decent. They deserve to be bolded up here with the other big four here. I don't expect that. I think they'll fall behind these four. And then either come in fifth or maybe like sixth or seventh if one of the Pennsylvania schools can, like Athens area. Athens area is actually pretty decent. Fifth place is not bad at the state. At the state tournament. Ruston, I mentioned it before, but Ruston, they used to be really competitive. Not so much anymore. I still like keeping an eye on them, though. You never know. They're usually pretty good at build events, so I always look to see at least where they place in build events. And they always just have one event where they're just amazing at it, like one build event that they're just amazing at. They get like first at every tournament. I think that was Trajectory for the past 2 years. Not sure what it is this year. Maybe we can figure it out real quick. I'm getting sidetracked, but so we only have one data point for them, actually. Air Trajectory they did pretty well in. And then what's this? This is Optics. So it looks like it might be Air Trajectory or Optics that they're really good at this year. But yeah, that's Ruston. Not super competitive, at least not in recent years. So let's focus on the teams that I did put over here. So those are, and that have data. So Thomas Jefferson, we don't have data for them yet. This is going to be their first invitational. Again, completely understandable. We're still pretty early in the season. This is really last weekend, January 6th, was the first weekend where of like the real competition and invitational season. At least in my opinion, how I divide up the season in my head. The competitive part of the season really starts when the new year begins. So last weekend was really the first chance that a lot of competitive teams could show themselves. And I'm still waiting on results actually from two invitationals for that weekend, North Mount and capital area. Those I'm still waiting on results for that. Like I said in the last video, um, uh, I will make a video about those when they come out. Speaking of the last video, by the way, last time I checked, that video had 0 views. So if you're watching this video, if anyone's watching this video, and you didn't watch my last video, it's about this tournament, Marquette, and how this affects Stevenson's placing and Marquette's placing. I won't spoil what I said, but you might be able to get a preview just looking at these results. But yeah, if you're interested in the 2024 Science Olympiad season, definitely go check that out. I think it's worth a watch. So anyway, back to this. I haven't even gotten started on the main portion of this video yet, and that's explaining what the heck this is. So over here, I have ranked the top 4 competitive teams. I would have included Thomas Jefferson if there was data for them. We don't have data for them yet, so I did not. But I have ranked the top 4 teams here: Mason, Cumberland Valley, Lower Merion, and Carmel. This is the ranking that I predict these 4 teams will fall in. Now, what I mean by that is that I don't mean necessarily Mason's going to get first, Cumberland Valley's going to get second, Lower Merion's going to get third, Carmel's going to get fourth. That's not what I mean. That could very well happen. But again, for the purposes of this ranking and for the interest of conserving time for myself, I did not incorporate all the teams into this ranking. So, like, Mason might get first at the actual tournament. Mason might get first. Cumberland Valley might get like third, beaten out by Athens area or maybe Ruston or something like that. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think these 2 teams at least will probably take top 2. Lower Merion will very likely get third. They might get beaten out by, like, I don't know, Athens area or what's another team that did well at the States? Really just Athens area, actually. I don't really see Lower Merion getting beaten out by Ruston. Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, Lower Merion's probably definitely going to get at least third. Carmel, though, Carmel might get beaten out by, like, Athens area or something. But yeah, this is not necessarily going to be the official ranking of at the tournament, and these team scores are most certainly not going to be my actual predictive team scores. I'd estimate probably onto each of these team scores add at least 20 to 30 points maybe, and that would be closer to the actual team score, because even though a lot of these schools aren't very competitive overall, oftentimes schools that are not competitive as a team are very competitive in certain events because they sink all of their resources into 1 or 2 events. They completely bomb the rest, but then they end up getting second or first in those couple events that they sink all their resources into. So they'll often beat out teams like Mason or Cumberland Valley or Lower Merion in certain events. So, like, for example, just take my example of Ruston in build events. They sink a lot of their resources into build events, so I wouldn't be surprised if they beat out Mason and Cumberland Valley and Lower Merion and Carmel in air trajectory and take first or second, I wouldn't be surprised by that. That does not mean that Ruston will, beat out all of these teams overall. It just means that they beat them in 1 or 2 events. So yeah, that's going to obviously up these team scores. To see if my predictions are right, by the way, after the tournament is over, I will take these schools' rankings in each event compared to each other and add up their team score that way and see how close I was. If that makes any sense. I don't really know if I'm explaining that right. You'll know what I mean when I make the post-tournament video. But enough of that. This is going to take long enough as it is on my recording software. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is making making another video just going over this so I have a little more time. So I'll post that one right after this one. I'll title this one like part 1 or something. Yeah. And again, if you didn't watch my last video and you're interested in this kind of stuff, definitely go check that out. I think it's worth a watch. But anyway, yeah, that's going to be it for part 1. In part 2, I'll go, like I said, I'll go over these in detail and how I did that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.